Hello everyone, David News here, and update of the Washington Terminal Company Model Railroad. Going to be talking about some new real estate, including Ivy City and switch machine installs. I'm going to start out with just an overall look at the layout. You're looking at the east end there, which has no foam in it yet. The body of the yard, which is just about 90% complete, and moving towards the ladder in the west end of the yard, and the west end of the passenger terminal, coming around the curve and moving towards Ivy City and going out towards taking the main line out. The panel you see there is the new switch machine fascia panel, and it'll control a number of the switches you see there and on this adjacent module for the Y and 3 switches down that way. Sorry about the post in the way, but I'll give you a better view in just a moment. So been getting a lot of work done on the layout, and let's start out with some new real estate that's been acquired by Washington Terminal, which is this module, which is the east end of the layout. This didn't start out too good there. The kind of zig in and back out or down or whatever you want to call it, I thought was going to work, but it didn't work. It was rather Frankenstein. As you can see there, not lined up well. It's the wood's leaning, it chewed into it, just didn't look right and was weak. It was rather shaky when you moved it, so I couldn't have that. And as you can see, kind of missed the wood there. So I went back to the drawing board and came up with an idea for a hinge, still cut at the same angle using just one piece of wood, now having to miter that piece of wood and the end bulkhead piece. Put a strong hinge in and close that gap in with glue and wound up with this. Got a little bit more real estate out of it and a much better look, a much cleaner look, so that'll work for me. And rounded the corner off on that so you don't catch yourself and hurt yourself. The next thing is Ivy City. Got the module out for that, did a little bit of work on it, and started fiddling around with how the Y is going to be configured into this section here. And this is not final, but it's probably going to be something like that, obviously. And you're looking from the opposite end of where the tail is going to be and looking back down into Ivy City. The platform you see there is for the diesel facility and car workshop. That's not going to go exactly there. It'll be somewhere in that general vicinity. Better look at it and look down Ivy City. And remember, these modules are 8 feet long. So I'm going to put a little miter on the end of the next module that goes to this so it has a little tilt out from it. It's not just a straight. While looking at videos over the course of time, I ran across a recent one from Tom Kovichik, and he was talking about how he puts his modules together to keep tracks lined up. And I thought it was a good idea, so I gave it a try and used, this is 1/2 inch PVC, 1/2 inch outside diameter PVC. And talk about a great idea. Keep it snug and it works great every time you go back to put those modules together. Appreciate that, Tom, and hope people will check your channel out also. So this is a kind of bird's eye view look at the Y. Going to the right is a tail, going to the left is going back towards the yard. The bottom left-hand corner is going into Ivy City. And the switch on the far right-hand side for the tail will be controlled by the panel on the fascia of the layout there. This is a look from the tail back up towards the Y. That track there has been laid in. I may make an alteration to that by putting another switch in and using that kind of over there as an industry. So something can be over there and serviced. And on the far right-hand side is a lead to an industry. A different look at that area, looking back towards Ivy City from behind the main line. And I did reclaim some switches from the original layout. The cables you see underneath are for the switch machines. I hadn't installed them yet. And this is a little brief look at the switch machines I used, which were the Walthers control system switch machines. They have a horizontal version which works well for me because I want to keep that space under the layout, so when I take the modules apart, I can stack them bottom to top, and not really worry about things hanging down, wires and other devices. So a piece of wood, this is my first time using these and doing switch machines. Put blanks in, extrude the foam out of it, put the blanks in, line it up where the switches were. You can see the lines coming off at each end of the wood block, so that's the switch itself, so I could keep my center line. The DAP did not work well, so I took that out, cleaned it out real good, and got epoxy, 5-minute epoxy, got new wood blanks and put in there, and it worked well. Put the feeders in, so I made sure that nothing was interfering with the other, no switch machine pads or switch machines with buses and feeders and all that good stuff. A lot of measuring, a lot of scratching my head, a lot of trying to think of what to do and how to do it, and actually kind of had to give myself a little pat on the back. This is something I did not want to do, and it took me the longest to accomplish. Switch machines are finally put in and lined up, and this was probably the biggest headache for me of all of this. But like I said, I got through it, and it came out well. The switch machines lined up well with the switches. They throw well and positive. So I needed a fascia now, or a fascia control panel. So this is the beginning of the panel. It's 1/4-inch hobby wood that I got from Home Depot. And they give you you can purchase a template with your fascia control buttons. So you lay it out on your center lines and get your configurations together of how you want it to go. Follow that along. Drill, sand the surface real good, rounded corners and edges. This is the power input module for the control system for the switches. And this supplies power with a wall wart or a little wall plug right into the bottom receptacle, and a cable that they supply you with the switch machine goes right down to the switch machine from that to supply power to the machine. There you see the bus feeds in along with the feeders. Everybody's all hooked up, and I made sure I moved everything around so nothing touched. This is the final product of the fascia control and fascia control panel, and as you can see, I separated things in the colors. The main line's white, the Y is red, and the blue line you see up there is an industrial spur I haven't labeled yet. But everything works. It's actually a nice system, and they're slow motion switches, so that's a nice feature I didn't expect. These are some of the switches that they're controlling on the layout. These are 4 of the switches, 2 mainline crossovers, the one switch at the very top that comes in that leads to the passenger terminal, and then the bottom track leads to the freight main. And this is another look at it. Some extra cabling hanging down. I've got to get that taken care of, but that's no problem. Now, this is the problem I had from the previous layout. This area has been extended out and flattened out some, so I don't have kinks. No worry about S-curves when coming in and out of the yard with long cars. Even the inner track there will take an 86-foot flat car or an 85-foot flat car, so 89-foot flat car. I hope I got the number right. I don't remember what size it is, but it's a pretty long flat car, and it will take it. Wheels won't ride out. The bottom switches are leading to and from Ivy City and going to the Y, and the track you see there leading off of that bottom switch is going out. The single track is going out towards the other end of the tail for the Y. That's the area that leads out to the main line, and so far that's as far as I've gotten. But I hope you like what you see. Please like the hit button or hit the like button, whichever you prefer. All right, I appreciate you taking time and spending with me here on this update of the Washington Terminal Company Model Railroad Layout.